give you that. I'll give you that. But C-Cat, what I can't give the Bengals is any kind of excuse for what the hell they have going on as an organization right now. Do you know how many franchises in the NFL are absolutely envious of what Cincinnati has? And I'm not just talking about what they have in a world-class number one wide receiver in Jamar Chase, who just won the Triple Crown and is like 24, 25 years old, still ascending in his career, right? No, they have a franchise quarterback in their building. They have a guy that won a national championship and a Heisman in college. They have a guy who, in his second full year of starting, was able to guide them to a Super Bowl appearance. The Bengals have it fixed at the one spot in the NFL where you can't win without it. And if you don't believe me, just ask that guy out there in Pittsburgh. Ask Mike Tomlin, who since 2016 has not won a playoff game. If his career, like Mike Tomlin is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest coaches of this generation. If his career started with this run from 2016 to 2025, these past 8 seasons, he wouldn't have made it to 8 seasons. He would have been got fired. I mean, the Steelers don't do that often, but he would have been got fired if Mike Tomlin had the back end of his career on the front end. No, he won a Super Bowl early. It bought him a lot of equity. He's obviously a great coach. But do you want to know why Mike Tomlin can't get over the hump with the Steelers? Do you want to know why Pittsburgh was so desperate for help this offseason that they went out and got a 42-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers who has football on his priority list at best is like number 4?
Well, it's that number 1 position. It's a QB.
He needed a franchise quarterback. He needed a ceiling raiser. He needed a guy he can trust under center that could help him win football games late in the year. Not just enough to have a non-losing season, but enough to actually eliminate teams when it's win or go home time. The Bengals have that. They have Joe Burrow. It's the hardest thing to achieve in the NFL is to acquire and be able to secure a franchise quarterback. But the other thing that they have is an absolutely frugal and ridiculous ownership that has continued to set their franchise back. Every time they go 3 steps forward, it's 5 steps back because of situations like what's going on right now. So we obviously know Trey Hendrickson, FAU alum, the edge rusher who led the NFL in sacks last year on a Bengals defense that was near the bottom of the league in every category. Hendrickson is not at camp because he is still awaiting his extension. This isn't like last year Hendrickson finally popped and now he needs to prove it on the franchise tag type situation. No, last year was supposed to be the prove it year. C-Cat, if I'm an edge rusher and the franchise tells me, hey, you know what? We really like you. You're essential to what we do. We want you to go out there and prove your value, and then we will give you an extension. Would leading the league in sacks count as proving my value?
Yeah. That feels like you kind of did everything possible to prove that you are that guy.
What else do you want me to do? If I'm Trey Hendrickson, what else would you want from me? I was healthy. I led the league in sacks. I was the only plus defender on a roster full of just negative marks all across the board. That defense was so bad, they got a coach, an assistant in Big Lou fired, who just 2 or 3 years ago we were asking, is somebody going to steal him as a head coach? That's how bad the talent on that defense was. So you have that issue. Hendrickson's obviously not at camp. Then you have the issue of what's going on today, which we really learned more about yesterday in Shamar Stewart, the edge rusher out of Texas A&M. The Bengals drafted him with the 17th overall pick. We all agreed it was a savvy draft selection. But C-Cat, have you seen the reason why Shamar Stewart isn't practicing right now?
Money. Contract situation.
The Bengals are trying to get a fast one over on Stewart when it comes to what his first-round capital contract is going to look like, his rookie-scale contract. Now, obviously, they're not haggling over dollars and cents because I believe it was 2011. It was the year after the year before Cam Newton. Cam Newton was the first quarterback to be drafted into a world in which there was a rookie wage scale in the NFL. Like, let's not forget, when we want to talk about quarterbacks being busts, I think that we can't gauge anybody after 2011 as being a big of a bust as Jamarcus Russell. And it's not because of just how bad he was. It was because he also cost the Raiders like $70 million. At least now when you bust on a quarterback like Zach Wilson, like a Trey Lance or like a Mitch Trubisky, it ain't that bad. You can get off of that contract and move on and be okay. Cam Newton walks into a league where you don't get to negotiate dollars and cents. You get a rookie wage scale, whatever they want to call it. It is cut and dry, cookie cutter contracts all along the board. But here is the issue with Shamar Stewart and the Cincinnati Bengals. They are trying to bake in a new structuring to his contract, new verbiage that would literally put his guaranteed money that should be his to have at risk way ahead of when it should, right? You're signing a 4-year deal. They'll have a 5th-year option. The Bengals are trying to squeeze in an option to get off of his contract and void his guaranteed years, trying to pull a fast one on a guy who you need to help shore up your defense before he's even played a snap for you. And now not only is he sitting out, he's speaking out. Do we have the sound? I want to play the sound from Shamar Stewart, because if I wasn't good enough at defining what the Bengals have done to him, maybe you listening to a kid who's 21, 22 years old, who has not had an opportunity to prove his value in the league yet, who also is in a locker room where he needs to earn respect from the vets. He needs to earn reps and be able to make his way in this league. Like, there's no way you would expect a rookie before minicamp even starts to be sounding off on an organization like this, but that's how incredibly bad it's gotten between the Bengals and the players in their locker room. We're going to play you that sound, but keep in mind when you listen to Shamar Stewart that he's speaking out about his current day situation. The reason why I say the Bengals are the most indefensible franchise in sports right now, because this dates back to Carson Palmer. This dates back for the past 20-plus years under the Brown family, where they have shorted their players in their locker room and de-incentivized them from giving it their all, from fighting to be able to make the team better, because they're worried, looking over their shoulder every day of, am I actually going to get paid? Am I going to get compensated for my services to this franchise? Here's Shamar Stewart. Take a listen to this and keep in mind the history of the Cincinnati Bengals.
And just know you're doing the right thing. Like some people say, we all agree Trey will be right? But technically he's still 1% wrong for being under contract. So in my case, I'm 100% right, so it should be a no-brainer. And in Trey's case, I think it should be a no-brainer too. I mean, he led 17.5 sacks for 2 years back-to-back. If I was the GM or I was the owner, take all my money. But I guess they don't operate like that. But
Has this experience?
Listen to this right here.
I talked to him the last time he was here, but other than that, no.
Has this experience soured your taste of the Bengals?
I'm not gonna say that. I mean, I'm still new here. We still have a long future ahead of us.
What's your communication with Zach Taylor been like through this process?
Here, cut it right here for Shamar Stewart. He got to a point in this interview, because he's doing an availability in the locker room. He's not practicing because he's not paid. He's not under contract. He got to a point where he said the Bengals just want to win arguments more than they want to win games. They would rather win arguments than win football games. And to me, when a rookie is saying something like that, I believe you have a problem that scopes much bigger than that one singular dispute. You have a problem with Trey Hendrickson. You had a problem with T. Higgins. You had a problem with Jamar Chase. The only reason why both of those brothers got paid this offseason was because Higgins and Chase had the same agent, and they came together as a combo deal. C-Cat, I guarantee you, if it had not been for Chase fighting on the behalf of T. Higgins, they would have got the Jamar Chase deal done and left Higgins on a bit of a franchise tag or another one-year deal to prove it yet again. This is a dirty franchise, a cheap franchise, a bargain bundle franchise that is going to continue to hamper its ability to compete in an AFC that has a bunch of teams with elite-level quarterback play, really good coaching, and owners that don't get in the way of winning. They're the most indefensible team in all of sports, the Cincinnati Bengals. Or what's Rizzo call them? The Bungles. Might join in on that. Scrubs. Do you have a team more indefensible than that? I know the Knicks are looking really desperate these days, but even them, at the very least, you can say, hey, they bought in on the Nova Knicks, and that gave them a little bit of credibility in the league.